All right. If other people will jump in, they jump in, but I'm ready to go. I know we're all extremely busy. We're asked to do more with less time, so I appreciate you being here. And today I wanted to talk and share what I've learned about loneliness because it's a big deal. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. When I started WorkHappy 3 years ago, I didn't think loneliness was going to be at the top of the scale, but it really has. I just read a study saying that extreme loneliness, when you're lonely for a long period of time or you have zero friends, it can have the same effect on your body and your mind as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And so today I just want to share a couple of things that I've learned, a couple of hacks, but it's one of the steps in the WorkHappy framework that I showed people. I moved back to Wallet 8 years ago. During COVID, I lost my job at the chamber because I'm not sure why yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. But then I started WorkHappy. I'm a TEDx speaker and I work with organizations. How do we work happy? Because when we have happy employees, they're more productive, they're more creative, they stay longer, and most importantly, better mental health. Also, how do we talk about mental health in the workplace? Till 5 years ago, I didn't know how to do it. I do now, and I want to share it because we can absolutely save lives by having conversations and making people feel that it's okay to reach out and ask for the help that we need. And then now I'm starting to also do coaching, happiness coaching. How do I create that mindset day in and day out? So sales career, used to do stand-up comedy. It was a great job, but it was very lonely as well too. And so I started WorkHappy back in March of 2020. That's a little bit about me now. Back to loneliness. One of my favorite people, I got the opportunity to work with him a couple of times, was Robin Williams. And one of my favorite quotes by Robin was, "Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Always be kind." And I have to remind myself when somebody cuts me off in traffic or the person at Safeway checking me out is grumpy, but it's so important, right? We don't know what other people are going through. And if we just keep that attitude of kindness and it's okay and give them a little bit more grace, I think we're all better off for that. And that when we do talk to people and reach out and ask how they're doing and be kind, reduces our loneliness as well. So I hit rock bottom with my loneliness back in college. I was teaching English as a second language on a tiny island. It was halfway between Hawaii and Australia. I don't know the size of the island, but you could drive around it on moped. It only took an hour to drive around this tiny little island. And we were out there, a bunch of college kids working at the school. I taught math and music. I taught math until the chapter where they added letters. It was beyond my pay grade. So I switched with another guy and I taught music for the rest of the year. But back then, there was no internet. We got a newspaper once a week. There was no TV. So basically, we were stuck reaching out to our families and friends back home through phone calls and letters. I'm usually pretty good at making friends, but I got out there a couple months late and I just didn't feel like I fit in. So I really forced myself to make an effort to have conversations and build relationships with these people. And it's really worked out. Probably 4 weeks ago, there's actually three of us who were on this tiny island 25 years ago working together, now live in Walla, Washington. And so we got together about 4 weeks ago and had a reunion, and 8 of the 20 of us got together. It's been 25 years, but it was really cool to see where people have gone, meet each other's kids, and all those kinds of things. Loneliness is an epidemic. Research tells us that 8 out of 10 people in the workforce feel lonely at some point during the last 12 months. It's a big deal, and I wanted to share how we can help each other out and get through it. Loneliness is a state of distress or discomfort that results when one perceives a gap between one's desires for social connection and actual experiences of it. And just think to yourself, I know we've all had times in our life when we're lonely, if we haven't been married or we lost somebody or we moved to a whole new town or school or whatever. But there's 3 different kinds of loneliness. One is emotional loneliness, where you don't have somebody that you can connect with or bond with. Social loneliness is you going out to dinner by yourself, right? You don't have friends that you can go do things with. And then existential loneliness is even greater, where you don't feel like you fit in the world, your social settings, and you're just really lost and lonely. And again, when we are lonely, it's not good for our mental health. It's not good for our jobs or relationships. 22% of Americans say they always or often feel lonely or socially isolated, which is a lot of people, right? Always. 22%, 2 out of 10 people. But here's the negative effects it has, right? 58% of people say it affects their mental health. 55 is physical health. 49% it affects their relationships, and 33% because they're lonely and they don't have someone at work or someone that they can go home to. It really affects their ability to do their job. Connection is a big thing, and I'm an extrovert. I was out giving a keynote address for an organization in Canada. This is in Halifax, and I went out to the Bay of Fundy because it's the biggest tide difference in the world. I think it's 12 feet. I didn't stay out there for 24 hours to watch it go up and down, but you can go, it's about a 20-minute walk, and I wanted to see and just get ready for my talk. I turned around and I saw this guy. His name is Steve from Halifax. Don't know his last name, but he had a 49ers hat on, and he looked like the guy who probably wasn't married, didn't have a lot of friends. And I had the thought in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm by myself. I'm just going to go for a walk. And I thought, no. So I made a quick joke about the 49ers because I'm a fan as well, too. And I said, hey, I see you're a 49ers fan. I am. My favorite teams are the 49ers and anybody playing Dallas because I hate Dallas. And he laughed, and we started talking. The first thing I noticed about Stephen, other than his loneliness, was that he had a really big stuttering problem. So it took him a while to connect and say what he's going to say. So we just had a conversation. I said, hey, I'm going to go for the walk. You want to join? He said, oh, yeah, man. He goes, this is the first time I've been out of my house in 3 months. I said, oh, man, that must be tough. And he goes, yeah, I'm really lonely. I lost my job. And then a couple of weeks after that, my mother passed away. And so I didn't have a job. I don't have my mom. I've got this house. And the only connection that Stephen had was when his buddy would come over and they'd drink beer and watch hockey games. So during those hockey games, it was fine for him. But he said, I just don't get out with my stuttering. I'm socially awkward, and I don't have a lot of friends. And I just listened to him. And he told me a story about his grandfather and the Halifax explosion and all kinds of things. And towards the end of the walk, I said, hey, have you ever thought about going and seeing a counselor or your doctor for your mental health? Because he said he was struggling with depression and loneliness. And he gave me the answer that I used to give people, and that I'm sure a lot of us have, is, you know what, guys, don't cry. We just suck it up, keep on. And I said, you know what, Stephen? I said, I used to say that as well, too. But now I know that when I have reached out and when I do go to therapy or my counselor, it's really helpful, not only for my relationship with my wife and my daughter, but also my work relationships and having better mental health. And he goes, okay, I'll think about it. So we're getting back to the cars and we're getting in and we're saying goodbye. And the one thing that I noticed about Stephen was by the end of that 30, 40-minute walk, the connection that we had, he was no longer stuttering. And I did research and I asked a speech therapist about this, and they said stuttering is normally caused by social anxiety, where people don't feel comfortable with other people. But for whatever reason, within 40 minutes, I knew all about Stephen. He knew a little bit about me. I knew about the Halifax explosion. And he said at the end, he goes, you know what, Greg? He goes, I'm going to go talk to my doctor. And that's just one of many stories that I've had where connection with people takes away the loneliness. And when I thought at the beginning, I'm just going to go walk by myself, I thought it might be a burden, but it moved me. I sat in my car and probably cried for 10 or 15 minutes, just overwhelmed the whole conversation that I had with Stephen. I'm so thankful for him. I tried to find him on social media. So if you see this online, Stephen, please reach out. We'll talk hockey and go for another walk. So here are 3 loneliness hacks that I found that have worked for me the last 5 years that I've been doing this. Attitude of gratitude. So being more outgoing, right? We're all on these damn phones way too much, but it's great when I can reach out to somebody and have a phone call. And I'm trying to do this more and more often. But if I see somebody with a post and I have their phone number, I'll call them and say hi or text them. I'll talk a little bit about gratitude text in a bit, but also handwritten notes. My mom, when we were growing up, every Christmas she would give us blank thank you notes in our stockings, and we had to write a thank you note for the toys we got before we could play with them. Kind of held us hostage, but I have gotten so many cool friends from writing handwritten thank you notes. I've gotten a lot of business, but when people get a handwritten thank you note, when I get them from my clients and my friends, it absolutely makes my day. And that loneliness goes away, right? We still need to be in touch with people and do things, but just those 2 things, either quick text or a handwritten note really help with reducing the loneliness that we have. The second thing is serve other people. I cannot stress this enough. My dad was a missionary doctor, so I grew up a missionary kid, and we were in Hong Kong. That's where I was born. I know I lost my accent, but their attitude of service was just outstanding. And I know when I'm having a bad day, if I go down to the Christian Aid Center and help them out and whatnot. But when we serve other people, it connects us with those people and it takes away, again, the loneliness. And then third, find your tribe, right? If you're more introverted, like my wife and daughter, this sometimes can be a bit tough for them. But find your tribe, right? Maybe you're into fishing, or maybe it's a church group or a service group or whatever. But find something that you like to do, and then just put yourself out there and be more active. You'll connect with people. The weirdness won't last very long. Sometimes it is weird, but it goes away pretty quick. And also too, during COVID, I started a little tiny group on Facebook called the Humor Lab. I was bored one night and I thought, how am I going to be able to reach out, talk to people, make people laugh? And so I sent it out to 30 of my friends. It's non-political and PG-13. And so I sent it out to 30 friends. I woke up the next morning and I had 152 people in this Humor Lab group. I was like, this might be something here. So I spent no money. I spent a lot of time and I sent it out to everybody and post and all that kind of thing. But over the 3 years, we now have almost 40,000 people from around the world who like to laugh, who like humor, and people who have connected through this. And I get messages back from people saying, you know what, it sucked during COVID. I was lonely, but I would come here, see the humor. And there's been people who've actually connected, right? Oh, I really liked your post. You have more of those types of cartoons or whatnot. So finding a social group or online or outside of your daily work is very helpful as well too. So gratitude text. If you have your phones, I'll do it along with you guys, but pull your phones out. And I love doing this in a live presentation. I've done it, and Jim's been in the audience, but you have 200 or 300 people and people are sending text, right? I'm up there speaking. I'm like, okay, pull out your phones, which is odd because you don't want people on your phones. But I've done this, and throughout the rest of my talk, I can hear dings and I can see smiles from people getting texts back from people. Here's one that I got from my friend Tom Dunn up in Vancouver, a good guy. I woke up one morning and this was in my inbox, just a quick text. You made your way through my thoughts as I was walking home. I'm so proud of you, proud to call you a friend. Thank you for bringing joy to so many lives in times when they need it. The world is better with you in it. And I had the warm fuzzies and I started to tear up a little bit, but it really affects me when I get it. But when we send them, let's just take a minute and scroll through your phone, whether it's a partner, a kid, somebody you work with, or just a friend, and just write a short text, right? Be specific what you like about them or the gratitude you have, and then just end it with, I appreciate you. It'll make us feel good when we send them, but it'll make us feel even better when we get the text back. I'm going to text my sister, I think. All right. So if you get one back, put your hand up or wave or say something. But again, this is just one simple thing that we can do to reconnect us in a technology world. And the more that we can get off our phones or do a phone call, even just this morning, I texted a friend, it was his birthday. I saw it on Facebook. And so I texted him and he said, thank you so much. You don't know how much that means. And so right then I just called him and we had a brief conversation. You know what? I'm struggling and I'm lonely, but we had a conversation. And so it's that much better for him as well too. Find your tribe. This is part of the group that we started here in Walla. It's called Men in the Middle. And this was a Sunday morning. We went to the Children's Museum because one of the guys, the guy in the back, Scott, had taken his grandkids there, and the lawn was overgrown, weeds everywhere. Nothing was clean and tidy. And so the five of us spent 4 hours on a Sunday morning. And any one of these guys, if I'm struggling with my mental health, or if I'm struggling as a parent, I can call them up and say, hey, I need some help, or can you give me some advice? So when we find our tribe, that takes away our loneliness, because 2 years ago, I had no idea who these four guys were, but now I've got them as friends and colleagues, and it takes away my loneliness as well. That's it, other than the QR code. If you take a picture of this, it'll take you to a website and you can fill it out, and it gives me feedback to let me know what else people are going through. So if there's something that you would like to a topic you would like to hear about, you can fill that out. But all you need to do is just scan the QR code. I think you need to put your name and email address in. And when I do this, I obviously don't tell it to anybody else, but I use it to help me so I can be better at what I do, so I can serve more people and help people work happy.
Yeah, I did text my good friend Reynold Peters, told him I appreciated
Okay,
it. And he texted
good.
back and he said thank you very much.
Awesome, right? Now,
Yeah,
so did you feel better after you got a text back or when you sent it?
I yes, I did.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just a connection. And I know Reynolds as well too. And it's, even though you guys are provinces apart, just a simple text can make or break somebody's day. The 3 hacks that I use when I'm feeling lonely or down or whatnot. Number 1 is gratitude text. Number 2, go serve other people, help other people out. And then number 3, find your tribe, whether it's a Facebook group or a hunting group or whatever. But the more we can get outside and have human face-to-face connection, the better. So that's it for me. We got 8 minutes. If you have to run, run. You have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. But also too, sometimes when I talk about mental health and WorkHappy, people are still not willing to open up and talk within a group of people about mental health. So if that is one of your struggles or something you're going through, reach out to me and I will send a follow-up email, because we're going to be doing this monthly. And next month, it's all going to be about how to create a happy mindset. So things are going great and something happened today, it goes sideways. How do we get back to being happy so that we can be more productive, be more creative, make more money, do better work, and ultimately have better lives? And that's all I got. Anybody got any questions?